For years now, the Arrowverse has had an annual crossover around the end of the year where every show, or a couple shows, like 2 to 4 shows so far, and in the upcoming crossover it's going to be 5, come together to fight a threat that they are going to have to go up against. Now, the problem, I think, with these seasons is that the crossover and the actual seasons are completely separate, where the actual shows in the Arrowverse just barely connect at all, except for like in a couple instances, except for that one time in the crossover. Now, this year, however, that's not going to be the case, as with the upcoming seasons of the Arrowverse, it seems like all of them will be leading up to the crossover. The first half or the first third of their seasons will mostly be about leading up to the crossover. At least that's true for 1 or 2 of the shows, and the other shows will probably have some storylines leading up to the crossovers. So this year, the crossover is going to be a part of the storylines of the seasons, and also the Arrowverse will be a lot more connected. Now in this video, I'm going to go over every one of the shows, meaning Arrow Season 8, The Flash Season 6, Supergirl Season 5, Legends of Tomorrow Season 5, and Batwoman Season 1, and go over how they are going to be leading up to the crossover in terms of what's already been confirmed. So with that in mind, let's start with Arrow. Now, surprisingly, Arrow will actually have, it seems like, the most build-up towards the crossover, and I say surprisingly because there's a show here about The Flash and a show about Supergirl, 2 characters who had very, very prominent roles in the crossover. The main thing was that they died, but both of them gave huge blows to the Anti-Monitor's plan, while the Green Arrow in the comic barely had any role. In fact, I don't really think the Earth 1 Green Arrow appeared. It was the Earth 2 Green Arrow that appeared, and his main thing that he did was dying, so it's kind of surprising that it isn't The Flash or Supergirl that have the most build-up for the crossover, but it is Arrow. But that does seem like it's the case, as in the last season in the crossover, Oliver made a deal with the Monitor. It seems like he might die, but we don't know yet. But the Monitor came back in the season finale to season 7 to make Oliver go through with that deal, which is probably, or it seems like that's what's going to be the storyline of the upcoming season leading up to Crisis. That storyline most likely being Oliver going around the world and the multiverse to look for heroes to recruit in the war against the Anti-Monitor in the upcoming crossover, as we already know he's going to be going around the world. Probably, I mean, there's an episode called Welcome to Hong Kong. He's going there. He's going to be Katana, probably to recruit her. There is an episode called Prochness, which means he's probably going to Russia, and in the trailer, we see that he is on an alternate universe, probably Earth 2, where Black Canary is from. Also, we see an alternate version of Tommy Merlin and Adrian Chase, and these characters will probably be characters that Oliver and the Monitor, and the third character he's going to be teaming up with, we don't know yet, it's probably Laura Lance of Earth 2, that Oliver will be recruiting against the in the war against the Anti-Monitor, and that will be the main storyline in Arrow Season 8 that will be leading up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. It is probably the biggest storyline out of all the shows to be leading up to the crossover, as it's the main storyline of the season, while every other show has other storylines, and the main storyline is not about Crisis. And there are storylines that are about, I'll obviously get to that in this video, but Arrow's main storyline, following its main character, will be about Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is why it's definitely the show that is the most connected to the Crisis in at least this season, which is, again, weird because of what I already said, but also because The Flash has always been the most connected to the Crisis. It's the show that debuted the Crisis, or at least teased it originally in its first episode, and a lot of it has been surrounding the Crisis, while Arrow hasn't been about it at all. So again, it's really weird, but I think that it's probably going to be a pretty good season. But with that in mind, let's move on to the Now, The Flash is definitely the show that's most connected to the crossover, except in this actual season, as it is the second most connected. But anyway, I should mention that the second episode of the season is titled A Flash of the Lightning, which is the title of the, I think, 8th issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is the issue that the Flash destroys the Anti-Monitor's machine, which is the machine that was destroying every universe in the multiverse, and he dies, or it seems like he died, but it actually turns out that he went into the Speed Force, and now there's definitely a reason this episode was titled A Flash of the Lightning. I feel like this episode in particular will focus around the Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline, while every other episode, probably like 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, will all be mostly surrounding the new main villain, or the main villain of those episodes, Bloodwork, or at least probably 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, but I think 1 and 2 will more focus around Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that definitely is probably evident in the title of the second episode. But anyway, the actual storyline of the season surrounding the Crisis mainly has to do with the Monitor. It's been confirmed that the Monitor will show up probably in the first episode. I think that in the trailer, when Barry says, "Tell me what I need to do," he's probably talking to the Monitor after the Monitor tells him that he will have to sacrifice himself to save the universe from the impending danger. The same thing he did in the comics. It seems like that he might have to do that in the show, which is weird because it seemed like Oliver took over his place, where it seems like Oliver is going to sacrifice himself instead of Barry, but maybe both of them will, maybe all three of the Trinity will, maybe that's going to be the ending of all three of those characters. I highly doubt it because the show, The Flash, and Supergirl are continuing after this, after the crossover, but I mean, this is definitely fairly interesting, and we're going to see how it turns out in the season, but that is going to be the main storyline surrounding the crossover on The Flash Season 6. The Monitor will tell Barry that he will have to sacrifice himself to save the universe from the impending danger. The impending danger obviously being the Anti-Monitor, and saving the universe probably means that the multiverse will no longer be a thing after the crossover, and it will just be the universe, just like in the original comics. Now, I am fairly excited for this thing, but actually this is not the only storyline that it will be surrounding the crossover, as this season is introducing a new character that is set to have a very big role in Crisis on Infinite Earths. That new character is the new Harrison Wells. It's been confirmed that there will be a new Harrison Wells in this season, and it seems like he's going to be a different character to Pariah, but honestly, everything we've seen about the character, I feel like it's going to be Pariah himself. In the comics, Pariah had a very big role in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Pariah is already confirmed to appear in the crossover, played by Tom Cavanaugh. We've seen set photos of the new Harrison Wells. He dresses in green, just like Pariah in the comics. I'm still not convinced that they are going to be two different characters, as it's already been confirmed that this new Harrison Wells, not just Pariah, but this new Harrison Wells will have a very big role in the crossover, and I really don't see two different versions of Harrison Wells, this new one, and Pariah both having a big role, and I just feel like this new Harrison Wells is going to be Pariah. But anyway, this season is probably going to be, this season in the first episode is probably going to be introducing a new Harrison Wells. It might be in the second or third episode or something like that, but I feel like it probably will be Pariah, as this new Harrison Wells will have a very big role in the crossover. Pariah is a very important character in the comics, as he kind of inadvertently caused the whole thing, but then it's confirmed that he kind of wasn't at fault for that. But anyway, I think that definitely will be something we're going to be seeing in the crossover, but that is how The Flash Season 6 will be leading up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Moving on to Supergirl Season 5, definitely a season that will have a lot less to do with Crisis on Infinite Earths than Arrow and The Flash, but there is one storyline that's already been confirmed that will be leading up to the crossover. In the ending of the last season, the Monitor brought Ma'alefek, the brother of Martian Manhunter, to Earth out of some sort of Martian prison that he was in, and it's been confirmed the reason he did that is to test Martian Manhunter for Crisis on Infinite Earths. So that is definitely a storyline relating to the Crisis, as this might be his version of Elseworlds, the Monitor bringing Ma'alefek. It seems like the Monitor does this sometimes. He brings villains back to test the heroes, and that is something that he is doing here. Up until this moment, I had no idea Martian Manhunter, I just didn't think Martian Manhunter would have a very big role in the crossover, as he had barely any role in Elseworlds, and it just didn't seem like they were leading anywhere with Martian Manhunter. But after the Monitor bringing Ma'alefek, after the confirmation of his reasoning for bringing Ma'alefek to Earth 38, or to the Earth of Universe 38, it's pretty clear that Martian Manhunter will probably have a fairly big role in the crossover, which is actually pretty exciting. But that is really the only thing Supergirl has with the crossover so far already, at least that's what's been confirmed. Nothing else has to do with the crossover in this season. There are a couple characters from Supergirl that have been confirmed to appear in the crossover, like Superman and Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, and also Superman and Lois Lane's child, probably John Kent. But anyway, that's the main thing that they're going to be leading into Crisis on Infinite Earth with Ma'alefek and Martian Manhunter. Now, the final two seasons are Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 and Batwoman Season 1, neither of which have anything confirmed for the upcoming crossover. Batwoman Season 1, I feel like probably will have something to do with the crossover. I don't really know what, but I feel like there probably will be something. But on the other hand, Legends of Tomorrow Season 5, there won't be anything leading up to the crossover at all, mainly because the first episode of the season is actually Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 5. The final part of the crossover will be the first episode of Legends of Tomorrow Season 5, 5, so there's absolutely no way that the season will have any lead up to the crossover at all. And the only thing this actual show had in terms of leading up to the crossover is the fact that the Monitor appeared in the last episode of season 4, which honestly, it didn't really mean anything. It was really just a cameo from the character, and I just feel like the show, even if it wasn't the first episode of the season, it probably wouldn't have anything leading up to the crossover either. But yeah, nothing from Legends of Tomorrow season 5, and as of right now, nothing confirmed for Batwoman season 1 either, other than the fact that the characters of these two shows will be appearing, probably from Batwoman, mainly Batwoman, maybe a couple of other characters, and Legend of Tomorrow, probably every member of the team. But that is how every show in the Arrowverse, in the upcoming seasons of the Arrowverse, will be leading up to the crossover, at least from what's been confirmed so far. So anyway, that is it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below which one of these storylines are you most excited for in the upcoming seasons of the Arrowverse. The Arrow Season 8 storyline leading up to the crisis with Oliver going around the multiverse, the Flash Season 6 storyline where the Monitor tells Barry he has to sacrifice himself, or the Supergirl Season 5 storyline where the Martian Manhunter will be going up against Malefic. Let me know in the comments down below, and if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.